And here we go yet again. Ed on the Bed podcast. This is Ed. I'm on a bed. And we're gonna get this started. Intro song for today. Remember, we do this because of copyright infringement. So instead, I'm gonna have you play in the background "How's It Going Down" by DMX. Who it's definitely, I think, his softest song in it. It's a love song, yet he still raps about beating someone up. So it's interesting how cause he's always was a very aggressive guy in all his songs, and very like he's down to fight, or he's down to kill, or he's down to do whatever. um he's very aggressive. And then even the one time you ask him, all right, DMX, you're gonna write a love song, and he still goes ahead and says, well, if baby daddy speaks up, I'm not gonna put him in that caddy, but I'm gonna have him walk. He's gonna have to keep walking, something like that. So there you go, DMX, man. Who God bless him. I remember there was one day, I'm skipping class, and I get in my car, I'm driving down, and I decide just to drive around the beach because it was like a Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, and there's no one place to really hang out that early in the morning. um I mean, you could go to, I guess, to a mall or something, but even then, the mall at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning is just filled with old people. So, I prefer, I wanted to see at least, a little bit more action, and I thought to myself, well, just go down to Miami Beach and go down to South Beach. I'm sure there's tourists walking around. Maybe I'll meet some cute girls. I don't know. That was my plan. And so I head down. I'm driving down. Oh no, this was a Monday morning. Now I remember perfectly. It was a Monday morning, and around, I'm gonna say it was 16th in Collins, I think, around there. 20, no, maybe 20th in Collins. Let's say it's around that area. Um, I see like a lot of movie trailers. Well, no, just like trailers and trucks, and I could already tell, like, these are the kind of trailers that they use, like, to film with, like, to have like casting and actors and all that. It's one of those kind of trailers. So I tell myself, all right, I gotta see what's going on. So I go ahead. I park my car. I walk over there, and there's like security all around. Like, you can't get past a certain area that's roped off. And I just go up to some. There's some other kid there just hanging out, and he sees what's going on, and and I go up to him and I go, hey, so what's, like, what do you think is going on here? He tells me, I don't know, they're filming a music video. So we're like, all right, well, we gotta somehow get in. So we see these two guys heading through there, and they have some sort of press credentials or anything. And we talked to them, and they ended up working for I think they worked for Double XL magazine, or XL magazine. It was an urban magazine, let's just say that. And they had press credentials, and that they were there to take pictures of a new video called "The Thong Song" by Cisco of Drew Hill. And so the guys from the photographers asked if we wanted to go into the set, and we said, of course. So we went into the set, I had heard the song already because it was already playing in the radios, at least in Miami, and the radio stations and in Miami, and but it wasn't. I mean, it was popular, but I mean, I think when the video came out, it's when it became, what it became, and so we're walking through there, and the photographers go up to some PR lady from Def Jam, and they start asking her questions like, what's the shooting schedule, what's gonna happen, and are there gonna be any cameos? And the woman tells us the reason they're filming all this was because it was I'm skipping here a little bit, but it was a Monday, and the reason I remember it was a Monday because the night before was Super Bowl Sunday, and I believe, and you guys can correct me, I'm not going to look it up now, I don't really care that much, but I believe it was the Super Bowl in Atlanta, and they were going to fly in all of Def Jam artists down to Miami, since they had them all on the East Coast for the Super Bowl. They were going to fly them all down to Miami, and they were all going to make cameos in the Cisco video. And so in the video you see Method Man and Redman, you see LL Cool J, you see a whole bunch of just Def Jam people. And I remember the PR lady starts going down the list saying everyone that's going to show up to the video. She names Method Man, Redman. She says, and DMX is supposed to show up, but you guys know how X is. He does what he wants. And just in my head, I will forever have that tattooed, just there, that image and that voice of a 52-year-old Jewish woman saying, but you know how X is, and she's actually referring to DMX. So that'll always stay in my mind. I don't think he showed up. At least he didn't show up when I was there on set. But if he shows up later, they added him later. I don't know. I don't even remember the video that well. But yes, there was a whole bunch of women all over the place. That was amazing. I really didn't get to see much of the performers, like the cameos and everything, just because what was it? It was like they were filming in two different parts of the beach, and we happened to be in the parts of the scenes where they were filming mostly the models, which I'm not complaining. So, and then at nighttime there was another set, and I don't know, they had it all. It was all very weird, but still, it was it was memorable, and that's why when I think of DMX, I think of a 52-year-old Jewish woman. Anyways, so let's kind of get things started. I think I want to go into what transpired last night with me here. I kind of, if any of you kind of just follow me on Facebook, you might have read, but I'm heading back home from the club, and I'm going down a street called Humboldt. It's probably around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. I'm not sure. And I'm walking down, and there's a dude, I'm gonna say 5 yards in front of me, walking in front of me, kind of walking slow. And then this another dude kind of just pulls up right behind me, and he's kind of like catching up to me. And I've been in this scenario before. Maybe people in the States don't really see this, but here in South America, you see this a lot, and you'll get jumped in the middle of the street. And I've had this scenario happen to me before, and on all occasions, thankfully, knock on wood, that I've been able to get out of it or realize what's gonna happen. So I just kind of, I know how to get myself out of those situations. And in this particular situation, I realize what's gonna happen to me, so I cross to the other side of the street. And usually they don't follow you. In this particular case, they did. So now I'm kind of thinking what I'm gonna do, but me not realizing, I realize that now there was a girl walking down the street on the other side of the street, and the guys go after her now. So the one guy in the front catches up, gets a couple yards in front of her, and then I see the guy from behind just slowly creep up on her, and he asks her for help, and she stops to listen, and I realize that the guy in the front kind of stopped, and the guy in the back is talking to her, and I could hear him saying, asking her for her money. And so I start yelling, what the fuck is going on? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? Just yelling, hey, ¿qué pasa? And just yelling as much as I can, and just kind of, I've always learned, like in any sort of like self-defense class and all that, like one of the first things you do is just make a lot of noise, yell, just be loud, because just that loud decibel of just, it does come off as I don't want to say it comes off as a bit aggressive, or that it makes you look tough or anything, but I think yelling kind of lets you know that there's good aggression, or that there's an alert person. And that's usually why I believe that's why they have you yell and be loud and scream in any sort of scenario like this. So I start yelling at the dudes. The one guy in the front just starts running. He just runs and takes off. The guy kind of turns to me, and the girl just gets in the middle of the street, stops the cab that luckily was passing down, and she gets away. And now it's just me and the guy. And I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, I heard what you were asking her. And he's like, no, you heard wrong. Like, he's now debating me, saying, you heard wrong. What are you accusing me of? What are you trying to say? And I'm like, I'm just telling him to get the fuck away from me. Like, get away. And don't try to do that. Salí de acá salí de acá, no te quiero ver. Salí de acá. That's basically what I'm yelling at the guy. I don't want to see you. Just get away. And the dude, when he walks away, is when he starts talking shit. Like saying what would I get to do to him, and this, like, so it's always funny how the shit talkers do it a good half a block away and everything. This is a rare scenario. I know in most cases, especially when you're outnumbered, the best thing to do is run or get away. Just you don't kind of confront scenarios, because I've seen it. Like, sometimes you don't know if these dudes have any sort of weapons or anything, and I realized that. But in my scenario was they were gonna mess with the girl, and I mean, what was I gonna do? Like, I wasn't just gonna stand by or not do anything. So luckily it worked out the way it did. It could have been worse, and I realized that. Yeah, it happened, and unfortunately for me to say, it's not the first time that's something like that happened to me. In the city of Buenos Aires, it's happened. I've been almost jumped. Again, knock on wood. I think 4 times now. And I've had friends get jumped. I think in one of the other episodes I talk about my friend Christian getting jumped. Um, I've seen other people just have it way worse. And last night, two colleagues of mine actually got jumped as well. And you got to and to clarify, it's not like, for those of you that might not know like Buenos Aires that well, it's not like we're going to like the worst neighborhoods of Buenos Aires and asking to get jumped or anything. No, it just happens that crime, even as a good neighborhood and nice neighborhood and clean neighborhood as you might live in, there's still crime in there, and it's usually not, obviously it's not its residents, it's people that kind of just are looking for that. It's weird though. One thing that did surprise me, and I hope I don't sound bad by stereotyping, but the people that were gonna jump me, were dressed like they just got out of a club. To be honest with you, they were dressed. It was these two dudes. They were dressed nice. They were dressed like they just got out of the club. Preppy looking kids, and that's why it's that's why it kind of, I really wasn't expecting it until I realized that the way they're positioned, that I saw, I've had that scenario happen to me before, and I realized that's what's gonna happen right now. But the interesting, like, these guys were really nervous, so it made me wonder if it was probably their first time, or they weren't really sure, and they just weren't very confident about, I guess, robbing someone, because as you see later on by me yelling, it startled them. So that was yeah, that is surprising. But yeah, it happens in any neighborhood in Buenos Aires, unfortunately. And yeah, I still remember there was one day where I'm taking out this girl to go see the cemetery here in Recoleta in Buenos Aires, which is a really nice historic cemetery. And I'm taking her there. I pick her up from her hostel. We're walking towards one of the main avenues to get a cab, and while we're walking over there and we're just in conversation, this is a really nice neighborhood. There's a lot of traffic. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a lot of people walking around, and all of a sudden at an intersection on the stoplight, there's a car there. A woman's driving. She kind of has her window halfway down. The woman must have been in her 50s, 60s. And all of a sudden a motorcycle pulls up right next to her front door. Two gentlemen are on the bike, and the passenger on the motorcycle, sticks his body in to her car, through the car window, and is robbing her. She has a dog in the car. The dog's barking, trying to bite this person. She's like, she's just screaming and honking her horn. The dude's just trying to rip anything off, like her necklace, her purse, anything. He grabs something and they just take off. This happened in the span of 20 seconds, let's say. We were probably a half a block away from what was going on, but we could see what was going on. And right next to her, in that same corner, was a police officer. And the police officer saw what was going on, and all she did was just kind of have her hand on the holster, and she's radioing it in. But she's not approaching the scene. She's not doing anything. She didn't even make a gesture to pull over or to stop or to freeze. Nothing of the sort. She was just radioing it in and had her hand on her holster and just took off. And then everyone, like, when everyone took off, when the robbers took off, everyone that was in traffic got out of their cars. Everyone Like all the bystanders went up to the car to help the woman out. A local store owner took out a chair from his store for her to sit out of the car. They turned off the motor of the car. They had her calm down. They gave her some water. They were calming her down, and some of the bystanders start arguing with the police officer, saying why didn't she do anything? And the police officer explained that she didn't want to do anything because she didn't know if the assailants had any sort like a knife or any sort of weapon that could put the woman in danger, the driver in danger, which that kinda makes sense, but I still don't think that what she did was enough. And I know the girl I was with, her mindset was more of like, well, why didn't the cop just pull out her gun and just shoot them? And it's I also understand that mentality of, you're a police officer, you're trained to use your weapon, you're trained to be in this scenario. Mind you, I know it's not the easiest thing to shoot a gun in accuracy, and especially in a moment where you're nervous or anything. But there should have been more done, and it's not a rare thing in Buenos Aires to see cops let crimes happen. For instance, the crime that happened last night to my colleagues, there was cops present from what I heard, and they did nothing while they were getting assaulted. I've been in a scenario as well where one of the other times where I almost got robbed, I also a cop was seeing everything that was going on, and when I confronted the cop about it, the cop said that he wasn't sure who was robbing whom, as if I was trying to rob two guys, and yet I'm the one like running away. So I get it, and I get their argument, at least the argument that I've heard from some, that they say that what they get paid, it's not enough to put their lives at risk. Other people say that, most cops down here are corrupt. I don't know what to believe. I'm not a cop. I don't know really any cops. I'm gonna say that there are some good cops. I've seen some good cops work down here, but I hate hearing the common story that people are getting robbed, and people are in scenarios where crime's happening, and there's little to nothing being done about it. So that's a little frustrating about Buenos Aires. There's a lot, and it sucks. Like I said, it reminds me of New York before Giuliani went and cleaned up the city. And although I am a big supporter of the mayor down here, and I think he's done a lot for the city. I think in just how cleaning it up, I think they should do a better job. And even though he started his own police force, it's still not the same, and there still needs to be a lot more done here in Buenos Aires. But I guess we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, let's change the topic. Let's get a little bit better mood. Being that I did decided to call it a night and be recording this. Usually, I'd like to enjoy myself to be in this sort of scenario. By doing so, I decided to enjoy myself with getting high. So that's basically what I did, and I'm in a pretty good state. Not too high, but not too little. So that's where I like it. I'm good. And one of the things I like to discuss when I'm high, uh, with other people that are in the same scenario, because you can't have this conversation with someone who's sober. I mean, who is sober, because they just they don't really get into the conversation as they should. Um, and so my topics that I usually bring up, and they're very theoretical. I'm a very theoretical kind of guy. I love hearing about theoretic physics and everything. But this is very theoretical scenarios. And the first thing I like to discuss is uh, time travel. Somehow it once in your life it's going to come up, that conversation of time travel when you're high. And you're going to have all these theories, and you're going to have all these questions, and you're going to think everything. So, um, my theory of time travel is you don't have a machine, you can't use a machine, there's no sort of thing that's going to bring you to the past. The closest thing that you can time travel is something like in the movie Butterfly Effect, where he just kind of keeps time traveling but through his own body. So it's just him like going back to a memory, changing that memory, and then he's sped forward. It's sped forward to wherever his new alternate reality takes him to. Excuse me. And that's my theory of what time traveling is. So, with that being said, you can't change something from the past. You can't change something that happened, you know, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. You can only change things that happen in your lifetime. So that's my theory of how time travel could work. And the reason I think that is because sometimes there's times where you think of memories, and some memories are so vivid and so clear that you can remember how, I can remember like my first kiss and how it felt. I can remember you know a certain dinner that I had, and I can remember how this meal tasted. Or I can remember being at this concert and how this song sounded. And the songs, and so it's it sometimes the memory is so just exact that it kind of makes you feel like, wow, I could it gets to the point where you feel like you could access it more than and actually relive it. And I think that's my theory, that if it were ever to happen, it'd be that way. Now the problem with that, though, this is the paradox, I guess, is you let's say right now at this second I learn how to time travel. Like I figured it out. I guess theoretically, I figured out how it's supposed to be done, or if I'm supposed to take some pill and that's how it has it happen. Like whatever the case may be, I find out the idea or the invention on how to make it happen right now. I take it and I travel back in time and I change something like, oh, I'm gonna win the lotto or whatever. But by winning the lottery, that changes my life. That changes my lifetime, and it might change me to the point where I never bothered, or I never got the chance to learn how to change time. So that pretty much, that's me destroying the movie The Butterfly Effect. And if you've never seen the movie Butterfly Effect, I just ruined it for you. Oh well, it's still, you can still watch it. It's still a good movie. Just don't watch any of the sequels. But yeah. Picture me changing anything in the past, then affects the scenario of me learning how to time travel. Thus, it would never happen. That's why time travel never has happened, because anything you change by traveling through time might change, and most likely changes, the inventor's ability to change time, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I don't see you being able to time travel to the past, but I would see yourself being able to time travel to the future and then back to the present. In other words, let's say I learn to time travel, even though I said that my idea of time traveling is it only happens in your lifetime. Technically, it only happens to the point where you learn how to time travel. So I can't time travel to any time before this moment right now, because before this moment I did not know how to time travel, but now I do. So now from here on out I can time travel. So hopefully I can time travel to the future. You'd get some info like what the lottery number was or whatever for tonight. You time travel back to now, you play that lottery number, and you're good. So maybe that's the only way, because you would still be you from the present time. You'd have knowledge from a certain future that you've used. The number's still going to be the same number, and maybe that's how you access it. I don't know, but as you can tell, I really put a lot of thought into this, and that's what you do when you're high. You think about stupid shit like this. And so another topic that I bring up is the zombie apocalypse. Reason being the zombie apocalypse comes up is usually there's been times when I was younger we'd be playing video games, my friends and I, and one of the video games we'd used to love to play would be Resident Evil, and we'd always talk about how we all of us had our own copy of it. We'd play it all the time. Obviously you got to play it at night with the lights out and just by yourself, volume all the way up, and then just getting freaked out about just zombies popping out of everywhere. And I loved playing that game. I could beat that game on the highest difficulty level. Hardly use the gun. Pretty much kill all the zombies with the knife if I can. I had that game down packed, and so obviously it became a big topic of us to talk. How would we survive this scenario? So here goes. Here goes the Eddie C. Zombie Apocalypse Survival kit. And what you would do is, in most cases, like when you see in any zombie movie, and I've seen a lot of zombie movies, by the way, when you see a lot of these zombie movies, you usually don't know where the outbreak came from. It happens so quickly that the news really doesn't figure it out, whether it was a sorry about that, I got a call. And usually you don't find out about like, where was it, a terrorist attack? Was it a what is it, how did it spread? And so that's where people kind of like you don't know, so you don't know if it's happening just in the city, just in the nation, in the world. What do you need to do? So I'm always going to suggest that this is probably happening in just the city. And if it's happening just in the city, then you got to get out of the city. But the problem is, there's probably an army, there's probably some sort of group that's closing off the city and like quarantined. And if you're going to be quarantined, I'm sure you're probably going to die. you're gonna be in trouble because um, the the army doesn't know what's going on. And to be honest, if I knew a whole city has some disease that could spread around the nation or the world, I'm gonna let you know I'm nuking that city to save billions of lives. I'm nuking a couple people. I'm sorry, but I'd probably do something like that. And I kind of know. I would imagine someone would do that to me. So my plan is to get out of the city as fast as possible, and you're not going to be able to do it by roads. Your best chance is by ocean, and hopefully you live by an ocean. Because if you don't, then well, forget it. You're done. Your best chance is maybe jacking a helicopter or something, or a plane flying out, but I'm sure that's still dangerous because you're gonna get shot down. So, and not that in a ship you wouldn't, or in a boat you wouldn't, but I think you have a better shot out there if you're not being quarantined. And even then, out in the water, you're not gonna run into zombies. At least you shouldn't be able to. So yeah, you'd have to go out on the water. That's my best suggestion. Get to the closest port or harbor, or just places where you have boats. Get them on water. Get out on the water, and then just get the fuck out of wherever you're at right now, and then figure out later what you're gonna do. And then if this is a worldwide problem, I'm sure you can find some island where things aren't as bad, or some place where just it hasn't been just like affected by zombies. Yeah, you could tell I've thought about this a lot as well. Now there are other scenarios where you might not there are other scenarios that people then throw out that there are other scenarios where instead of zombies you might be facing aliens, for instance. Let you know we're not surviving an alien war. If we got to deal with aliens, they're gonna come at us. They're gonna think that they're superior than us. They're gonna fuck with us, and we're losing. So the only thing we survive that is if for some reason we are any use. If we're lucky, if we're gonna be any use to them. If we are, then that's great. And whether we become slaves or something, I think that's what we got to deal with. But yeah, there's no way that obviously someone who anyone that would show up would realize that they're superior than us. And I think they would when you know you're kind of superior over something, you at least kind of bully, or you kind of let someone know. And I think we could tell that's through our own personal history, as in, world history. We realize that that's the kind of thing that we do. So why wouldn't some other race not do it? And obviously, and that's also I realized. Let's say it was not even aliens. Let's say it was robots. Like I mentioned, I think it was on the last episode where I'm talking to Chatbot, which is the Google artificial intelligence robot that you can chat to online. That motherfucker acts very superior to you. Have a conversation with it, and I'm like I mentioned, like it very superior to you, and lets you know it, and she fucks with you by just saying stuff to like piss you off, or to see if you pick up on something. I have friends that are just like that. That I can tell that they make comments, and I realize that they're trying to offend someone, and they're trying to see if that person picks up on it. There's one friend that does that perfectly. My friend Toby, he has that down packed. I've seen him in conversations where he's talking to girls, and he makes a comment that only if you got to know Toby to know that he's making fun of you, or to know that he's saying something to disrespect you. and the person might not get the joke or might not realize what he's doing. 80-90% of the people around there do not know what he's doing, and he gets away with it, especially with these girls, because he's a guy who's a model, and he's very attractive. So girls just listen to whatever he wants to say, and it's funny with the things he can get away with, and he does it with everybody. I've even noticed him do it to me. Like, he'll make a comment and see if I pick up on it, and I know he's disrespecting me, and I call him out on it, and then I remember he's surprised that I was able to figure that out. I mean, there's certain mentalities where if you feel like you're better than someone, and not that Toby does, because Toby's a good guy, but I mean, in the cases of the chatbot, or if we ever run into aliens, that's the case, they're gonna fuck with us one way or another. So we're gonna have to deal with it, and I don't know how that's gonna work out. So those are my thoughts that I usually have when I am high. Very interesting. And yeah, it's what I go through. You know, not that I should. If not, I'm just watching movies, listening to music. I usually listen to a lot of I listen to reggae. I do not listen to Bob Marley. I listen to reggae. I'll listen to some Gregory Isaacs. You know, some Shabba Ranks, Cutty Shock. You know, I'll listen to that, because that's just more. You know, and like Peter Tosh, Legalize It, good song. I learned all these songs because there was a radio station in Key West that was the alternative rock station, but on Sundays they would play the whole day is just reggae music and old school reggae music. So you listen to that, Barrington Levy as well. Like, you listen to all these like old school reggae artists that weren't Bob Marley. Because everyone and I think that's the tackiest thing, that everyone thinks, oh, let's hang out, let's get high, let's listen to Bob Marley. No, come on, just like, it's like saying that the only thing you know about basketball is like Michael Jordan. No, you know, if you're gonna say something about basketball, you gotta say more than just Michael Jordan, or here in Buenos Aires where they say, you know, Ginobili. Like, there's more to basketball, and there's more to reggae music, instead of just Bob Marley or any of his sons. Like, there's a lot of good music, and you guys should check them out. Just start YouTubing any of those artists, and you'll see what I mean. And there's some really good songs out there. Maxi Priest as well. I had to throw him out there. But yeah. Please check them out. Mr. Vegas, that's another one. But yeah, that's basically what I do when I'm getting high. So I think on this one I'm gonna go ahead and call it a little early, and enjoy the later stages of what I'm feeling right now. I'll try to be back on soon though. And I hope I made this somewhat enjoyable. I know I got a little bit of a rant there, especially with my theoretical scenarios. But yeah, I'm glad you've heard it, and we'll be in touch until next time. Take care.